over 25 years. But after the euro crisis struck, some began to doubt whether it was such a good idea. Financial gloom has caused many Turks who've been living in the EU for generations to head back home in search of better jobs and opportunities. RT's Tess Arcilia reports on the migration reversal.
With about 5.5 million Turks living in the European Union, their presence is certainly felt in societies in Europe. But as the EU continues to be deep in the red, the lure of their original country's economic promise is getting harder to resist. And the residents living on this street, known as Little Anatolia, say that more and more of their compatriots are thinking of cutting their losses and heading back home. Like the owner of this snack bar, Belgian-born Murat Saglam has been finalizing his plans and is set on relocating his family back to Turkey.
Europe is finished. The crisis is getting worse every year. It's going to continue. First Greece, then Spain, Italy, right now Belgium. There is a lot of stress, lots of taxes, bills to pay. While in Turkey, it improves every year. Turkey is very powerful. Life is good. You can live well, buy what you want. In Belgium, it's no longer like this.
And the numbers say it all. The EU managed a 1.6% growth in 2011, while Turkey was at about 7.5%, gaining recognition as last year's fastest growing economy in Europe. While it is expecting a slowdown this year, the grass still looks greener on their side. And dependence on Europe is not quite as it used to be.
The trade volume used to be very high with EU countries. Percentage-wise, it used to be around 50%. Now it has gone down to just over 40%. That means we're diversifying our trade. More and more trade with African countries, Asian countries all around the world. And this, of course, has spurred a lot of growth. So we need people to be able to manage this. We need qualified people, personnel. So we see that a lot of people are now coming, second and third generation immigrants are coming back home for this purpose.
But there's another reason why a growing number of Turks want out of the EU.
Now, with the crisis, what's the result? We're rejecting foreigners. Obviously, now that there are fewer jobs, less money, what happens is priority is first given to the Belgians and after the foreigners. The Turks, the Moroccans, the Russians. My decision to go back to Turkey is economic, but also because when there's a crisis, there's discrimination.
Yet as this migration trend rises, Turkey is still officially knocking on the EU's door, its candidacy for membership hanging in the balance for the last 25 years, thanks to a long list of requirements to fulfill and political opposition from some EU countries.
People are afraid that the EU will come up with more and more excuses. Even if we do overcome them, people say that there'll be other excuses in front of us.
Not that it matters any longer for some Turks.
Turkey doesn't need Europe. It's Europe who needs Turkey. In a few years, you will see that. I'm against Turkey becoming part of the EU.
And right now, Turkey doesn't seem to be in much of a hurry either.